You say your party will fix the country. Where are you going to begin? Because our country is like upside down at the moment.
Yes, most definitely. You know, what we were dreaming of when we got our freedom and where our country is today is just too far apart. And therefore, we also have to be honest and acknowledge a lot of things have changed in our country. Many more people have got access to water, electricity and sanitation, but we could have done better. So what we are saying in good, what has happened up till now is not good enough, and we have to do more. And obviously you have to start prioritizing all of those many problems that you are talking about. And so we are going to zone in on as good fighting for social justice, fighting for economic justice, environmental justice, and something that not many parties over the past 25 years have dealt with is the issue of spatial justice. The apartheid spatial planning has put our people far away from work opportunities, from housing opportunities, and we need to bridge that gap by integrating our society. So under those four themes, we start with the issue of land. Land and spatial justice. A lot of land is owned by government. It's national government, provincial government, local government. They are sitting on massive pieces of publicly owned land. And what we are saying, what we will do to fix that, is to release that land, because public land must be used for public good. Then also, in terms of land restitution, many people have been forcibly removed from where they used to live under apartheid. And that land restitution is painfully slow. We will fix it by speeding up the return of the land to its rightful owners through the restitution program. The second one that needs to be fixed is our economy. Unemployment is very high in our country, and especially amongst our young people. Our population is growing faster than what our economy is growing. And because of that, people are feeling poorer. And it's very difficult to find a job, especially for young people. But also, how to fix the economy. The first thing that we are saying is that politicians must stop lying to South Africans. Every year come election, they say they're going to create jobs. It is not the job of any politician to create jobs. It is the job of the private sector to create jobs through partnership with government. So the role of any politician getting into government is that you must create the conditions conducive for the economy to grow. And then you must spell it out. What is the role of government in our economy? Government must make sure that we build infrastructure, that we have got proper roads, that we've got electricity security. Government must make sure that there's good health facilities, that there are good schools so that we can produce the skills that's needed in the economy.
In your manifesto, you say good is not afraid to tackle issues like racism. Yes. You also speak of gender discrimination, corruption, and poverty, honestly. Yes. But then a comment, someone said, but we have bigger things to worry about. Why must we worry about racism? How can you address that statement?
We depart from the point that the majority of good South Africans, good people, are not racist. You know what is my fear? My fear is that we need to break this chain whereby the older generation impose their old racial ideas onto the younger generation. And unless you break that chain, and you have to say to the older generation, my generation, that grew up during the years of apartheid, allow our children to grow up in a free South Africa, where we are integrated, where the race, you know, the color of your skin accounts only for less than 1% of who you are as a human being. And so that's why we are saying that we should not allow racists to speak for us. It's very important. If you want to have a prosperous country, emerging from this very sad past, many leaders have shied away from addressing the issue of race. What we are saying, we will address the issue of race. We will bring the younger generation out to say that leave us alone, stop imposing your old ideas on us. We will speak for ourselves, and then in that way you will deal with racism. So we will have programs where we want to go to school and begin to tell the story of the past to young people. So we need to remember our past, we need to honor our past, but young people now have got an opportunity to design their own future. And we will not be afraid. I will make no apology. You know, it's racism needs to be addressed, and it can't be swept under the carpet.
Your political history dates back as far as the PAC days, so you clearly know what a good governance is. How is good going to make sure that our government is clean?
Yeah, my sister, I have served the people of Cape Town in government for 7 years. So I have got the experience. I know exactly what I'm talking about. That any government need to put systems in place that can prevent and detect corruption before it happens. Corruption is stealing from the poor. The sources that we could have used to uplift the poor people in our country is being stolen. Corruption is so bad that people are looting. You know, they're just stealing because this one steals and I can also steal. So a clean government is a moral obligation. Anyone that gets into government must make sure that you spend every cent where it is supposed to be spent. And again, in my experience when I was running the city of Cape Town, I know it's possible. We had 4 clean audits, consecutive clean audits in a row, and yet we were the best run metropolitan in the country. So corruption must be rooted out. We need to talk less about corruption and act more. And that's why I welcome all of the commissions. We seem to be a country that's run by commissions. But it's an eye-opener for all of us, because I knew at a personal level that these things have existed. I have blown the whistle on many corruption. You know, for me the worst was in 1999, and I thought that's where our country went wrong. On the 9th of September 1999, I blew the whistle on a 30 billion rand arms deal, where our then President Jacob Zuma was also implicated. And what happened? Government defended those corrupt people. They were shooting the messenger. For 2 years, I was followed. I got death threats. I mean, I was insulted in Parliament. They were calling me a liar. President Thabo Mbeki went on to national television to say it's not true, there's no corruption in the arms deal. And you know what I said to him? I said, Mr. President, I'm not saying the whole government is corrupt. I'm saying that I want to assist you to root out those bad apples within your government. I'm saying to him that we are sending out the wrong message, that it's okay to be corrupt. So that was the litmus test for our country, because we did nothing. They were shooting the messenger, that's me, and people like Andrew Feinstein and Gavin Woods, who could produce evidence. And so thereafter, they said, oh, it's fine to be corrupt. And corruption just got worse and worse over the years.
How has the response been towards your new party? And the last time we spoke to you, you were told us that Helen Zille had not said anything by then. Has she said anything now?
Well, you know what? I have been a very good friend of Helen for many years. We know each other for many, many years. Through this whole dehumanizing experience in the DA, where they were trying to portray me to be a corrupt person, she was the one who stood by me. Because she believes in systems and due process and a fair process. And I wasn't getting that from the DA. And one stage, she was my intermediary because I wasn't speaking to the DA anymore. And she agreed to be that intermediary. So Helen is the kind of person that, you know, she's very straight. And yes, she's not said anything about the party, but I mean, if she had said something about it, she knows it's my right. It's my constitutional right to start a political party. But I've got great respect for her.
And the provinces, how are they receiving you?
The response has been very good. You know, I can say that South Africans have not disappointed me once again. Because, you know, I've been calling on good people to come together. And we depart from the point that if good people do nothing, that's when evil and corruption and all of these things triumph in our country. So as good people, we must speak up. And so we are mobilizing the good people to build a good country. And the response from young people has also been very, very promising. So it is a journey that I've started again. It's part of my life journey. It's part of my legacy that I want to leave behind, to create this opportunity for young people to become involved in politics. And certainly it's not about power to me. You know, I've been there, I've seen it, I've done it, I've been into government. It's creating that opportunity whereby I can recruit young people to become involved in politics. Because currently we're sitting with a situation where about 30% of the people of South Africa feel disillusion. They just want to give up. Now, God forbid that 25 years into our new democracy, such a big percentage of people are feeling disillusion. And I'm trying to target those disillusioned people and say to them, I want to rekindle their interest in the project of hope, the project of reconciliation. And also say to people that, you know, yes, there's lots of reasons to feel disillusion, but it's not good enough just to speak about feeling disillusion. Let's get together to fix our country. It's our country. I mean, I'm a patriot. I love this country. And therefore, I'm reaching out to good people who want to save our country, save our democracy, to work together, of all races, young and old and experienced, to come together.
Not far from where we are, there's a community called El Dorado Park.
Yes.
They are struggling with drugs, especially with the youth.
Yeah.
So what is your party planning to do in terms of making sure that you eradicate the issue of drug in our communities?
You know, again, I've got 7 years experience in the city of Cape Town of dealing with drugs and gangsterism. And you know what? Everybody is saying we need to get more police to go and catch them and put them into jail. That alone is not the ultimate solution. You cannot just fill up the jails with people for drug offenses. You have to at the same time deal with the socioeconomic conditions under which our young people and people live in general in this country. So our solution to fix that is to look at both getting more police visibility, but at the same time addressing the socioeconomic conditions of people on the ground. So we need to target our young people and empower them so that they can get their dignity back. We need to break the chain of supply and demand, and then you can take on the issue of gangsterism too.
We also have issues of kids drowning in pit latrine toilets in schools. Yes. In some schools I've heard that the kids, they are having their classes under the trees. What is your party going to do to make sure that you look into the education system and make it sustainable and conducive for our communities?
I think it's a shame on the whole of our country. I always say to people, you know, children are a gift from God, and we must look after our children. It was Tata Madiba who said, any nation who's not looking after its children is not worth to be called a nation. So it is disgusting, it's a disgrace that 25 years into our democracy, with all the money that we spend into education, that we've not been able to remove all the pit latrines out of our systems. It's unacceptable that, you know, for me, I was crying when I saw that on TV. You know, an innocent little person doing a normal thing that all of us do, go to the bathroom to relieve yourself, got drowned. So it is disgusting and it's a disgrace. My advice to President Ramaphosa is that what you must do is to give and assign a minister to do and to carry out that plan. And you must make sure, Mr. President, that there's a starting date when they're going to start and when it's going to end. Because this issue of pit latrines has been there for the past 25 years. And really, and he must hold the damn ministers to account. There is no performance measurement. If a minister does not perform, we must fire them. But in the case of pit latrines, I hope he is going to put it in the hands of the right ministers, and he must come clear and he must tell South Africans that we're starting on this date and we're going to end on that date.
Your statement when you were responding to Tito Mbowene's budget speech, you said unproductive state expenditure is the alu leaf South Africans must chew as a result of corruption. Do you have a good plan to revive the SOEs?
State-owned enterprises, you know, it's like, it's family silver. State-owned enterprises are supposed to belong to all of us. But they're being run into the ground by incompetent people, by cadre deployment, by putting a person into a position because of his or her political affiliation and not because that person has got the skill. So the state-owned enterprises, and the Minister of Finance has asked the question that we must answer as a nation. Do we still need them? And if we need them, how would need to be run? Minister, that is a simple question. You know what? And we expect him to answer it too. So now it's going to be a whole public participation, and it's going to wait for this bill and for that act. We need to see action. The state-owned enterprises in the previous regime, in the apartheid regime, it was used to empower poor people. The Transnets of this world, that is where there was no unemployment amongst poor white people because they were employed by Transnet. So the state-owned enterprises can be used for the good of the country, and instead of for the good of a few people. And so some of those people sitting on those boards of the SOEs, they don't have a clue about what their fiduciary duties are. They can be held liable personally, but they just go there and get an attendance fee, 5,000, 10,000 rand, and then they bugger off. So we need to see not only a plan, because Eskom is the worst. Let's just fix Eskom first, and then we need to deal with the rest of them.
And lastly, what is your message to the voters, especially the first-time voters?
People in South Africa, after 25 years of our democracy, begin to understand the value of that vote. The only way you can bring about change is that the current government that people are unhappy with, they've been voted into power. The only way to get them out is to vote them out. There is no other way. And I've been saying to South Africans now, we should also never just give our votes away. say, oh, I normally vote for this party, I normally vote for that party. It's wrong. I am asking South Africans to please lend me your vote for 5 years based on the plan that we have put forward to fix South Africa. And if we don't do it, and you must also hold us to account, and after 5 years you feel that, you know, the good has not delivered, then you take your vote away and give it to another political party. That is how democracy works. So staying at home and not going to vote, you are failing in your responsibility to hold those that you voted for before to account. The more we're going to hold politicians accountable, the more we're going to show them that our power that we have as the voters is that the voters can decide, we can decide whether we want you in there or not. And if you don't perform, we'll take you out. Then you will see how, first of all, the quality of politics will improve, because politicians will know that they can't mess around. And you know what? I have got faith in South Africans. We have seen over the years, the voters are very intelligent. Don't mess around with them. Don't take them for granted. And now only want to come after 5 years and show the voters you're still alive. Where have you been for the past 5 years? So accountability is very critical in politics.